brought some pictures too. It's going to get really crazy. I just wanted to say a few words about Jobs with Justice and Susan. Actually, I can't thank you all enough for being here. And on behalf of your organizations that you're here representing tonight, for the support that you give Jobs with Justice. You know, in order to run an organization like this, in order to work at an organization like this, you need folks that are very dedicated and mission driven, right? And that's what you have here. What happens though when people accept these jobs, like Jobs with Justice, is they don't realize that they're turned into fundraisers as well, right? In order to support themselves and the work that they do and so forth. So events like this, we can't have enough of them. And the more that we can help them with their mission and not have them do fundraising and rather programming, we can do a lot more with them and really make use of their talents. And sometimes that's difficult. There's times where Susan really has to call around and you know, look under every stone and everything else, and she's got a great board that supports her and helps her, but it's never enough, really. Because there's a lot of sacrifices that they make to do this work, and I just think events like this are small little glimpses into the appreciation that folks have for the work and the things that Jobs with Justice has been able to accomplish. So Susan, thank you for all of that. It really makes a difference. So I have a few remarks that I want to make before I get into talking about Esther. We also have with us today Joe Costigan, who's the director of the Illinois Department. And I would say, without a doubt, the roadmap and the friendship that Joe has with Esther has been very helpful to us and the labor movement and with our community partners and in the communities across Illinois. We have the best Department of Labor in the country, without a doubt. And Joe, thank you for your leadership. And you heard from my work partner, Bob Ryder. Many of you know him and know his level of dedication and commitment to working men and women everywhere. And he's been a great, it's been a fun little over 4 years now with Bob. He's given me some gray hair at times because he's like, here's what we did before you hear it from somebody else, which is great because you know, normally I was in those shoes and I know what's going on, so I try to be as flexible as I can, but he works his ass off, and Bob, thank you for that. So, Esther, right? If you look in your books, you have the program books, you'll see her bio. She doesn't want it read. You know, but it really is amazing what somebody, you know, can do when they're mission driven and focused and care about themselves and protecting their families and the greater community. I first came to know Esther when she was working at the AFL-CIO, actually. And she saw a group of young Latino workers wherever she would try to do something to put them in a place where they could showcase their talents. And she invited us to some conferences that she was running, my brother and I, actually, Javier, and I don't know how well you remember this or not, Esther, but she put us up front and center in front of a bunch of folks to talk about some of the things that we did that she thought was pretty innovative at the time. And it was such a selfless thing for her to do, but she had this great group of young Latino leaders, about a half a dozen or so, that she said, you need to listen and pay attention to what these folks are doing. And it just created one opportunity after another. And it really got me to thinking about what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to treat one another. And she's a mentor to so many. She's a friend to so many. She's considered family to so many others. I can't say enough good things about her. We're sitting here at the table, and I'm like, Esther, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think that you would be a vice president of a national organization and have such an important job nationwide? And she's just like, you know, she said, yeah, you know, in my wildest dreams, you're never in them, Jorge. So she got the point, though, and so did I, that you know, she really has meant a lot to a lot of different folks. And you know what? For somebody, you know, to do so much for so many and do it in a way that's selfless is very rare in today's day and age. Think about our own organizations. Think about some of the coalitions and people that we work with. I won't even get into the political side of it, but so many folks are focused on themselves, right? And how they look when something happens, or sometimes it's about taking credit and assigning blame. You don't have that with Esther. And it's very rare that somebody can rise to such a high level that she's at and still be able to possess those humble skills. You know, when Benet and Caleb were up here speaking, I was thinking to myself, the day that I was elected to this office, my father gave me a little piece of paper with some nice notes on them, but among them he said, hey, but for the grace of God, there were you, when you talked about workers and things like that. And you know, he said, never forget that. And there's a quote in the Bible that I know that CJ could probably, you know, blast me over the head with the quote, but I don't know exactly where it comes from, but it basically says, those who exalt themselves will be humbled, right? Which basically means you're not supposed to toot your own horn. You're supposed to have humility when you do this job. I don't know somebody that embodies that more than Esther. And that's what she's about. That's what she teaches us all the time as young leaders. She's been a mentor of mine in so many ways, and not just because of the things that she says, but in the things that she does and in the way that she does them. So I will always be thankful for Esther and for everything that she's been able to do for us, right? When I say us, I just mean folks in the labor and in community circles around the country. Really is where she does her work. Her office is a plane, a car, a hotel room. It's basically wherever she can sit down and make calls and have meetings and work on the computer. And she does it, and she does it well. I would say better than anybody else. So we should be honoring Esther tonight. We should be honoring her with this award. This is the Charlie Hayes Award. I don't know if folks know much about Charlie Hayes, but he actually comes out of the same union that both Esther and I come out of, the UFCW, right? And he was a great man. I've only known him since, well, I knew him when I was a child. I met him a few times. That's how I knew him. You know, in the 80s, he was very instrumental and helpful in getting Harold Washington elected. I don't know if folks know that history or not. But he was another person that believed in lifting other people up. I helped some family members of mine, some of my siblings, get opportunities that they otherwise probably wouldn't have gotten, even though they had the talent and skill to deserve it. He made sure it happened. At that time, he was a congressman, right? And he believed in reaching out to the community, lifting people up. He was a great man. It's a great person to acknowledge. It's a great award to be named after. And it all came together with this award. It all comes together because I don't know somebody that embodies that spirit more than Esther. So, Esther, it's your turn up with the mic. I didn't roast you, but I should have.